friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. I have a huge November book haul. November this year was when all of my library sales happened. I think there might have been one at the end of October. And I showed some of these books on Instagram, so I feel like I've already talked about them, but I haven't talked about them here. So I have a load of books to talk about for my haul this month. And I think this will be the last big haul that happens before the end of the year. I know that I'll be getting books in December. As far as me purchasing books, the only books that I can think of that I would be purchasing are my book of the month pick for December. I don't have any other library sales I'm going to, and I certainly don't need to add any more books to my shelves. I'm actually in the process of scouring through for an unhaul. I'm determined to try to get to under 550 on my shelves before the end of the year. And with adding all of these ones, I need to go through and see if there's others that I'm not as interested in as these, because I'm really excited about a lot of these. So let's just jump right into it. The first little stack of 5 books are from a YMCA that had a book sale near me, and all of their books were, I think, $1 or $2 for paperbacks. And then I have one middle grade Newbery winner. So I picked up book 3 and 5, I think, of the Jasper Fforde Thursday Next series. This one's Lost in a Good Book, and then Thursday Next First Among Sequels. I now own all 5 in the series. I did read the first one in October, and it took me a little while to get into, but I loved the audiobook. And I think now that I understand the world a little bit more, I am eager to continue on with that series. I did pick up a book by Emily St. John Mandel, who wrote Station 11, that I loved, and I still don't know anything about this one, except that it's in perfect condition and it's by the same author as Station 11. Excited for another Emily St. John Mandel. This one, I saw Katie from Life Between Words reading this October, The Physic Book of Deliverance Dane by Catherine Howe, and I feel like this will be a good one for next October. It takes place in Massachusetts in 1991 and also back in Salem in 1681. So we kind of follow one of the women involved with the Salem witch trials and then a present day story as well. So that dual timeline that I love. Excited for that. And then I'm working on gathering some of the Newbery Medal winners, and this is Julie of the Wolves by Jean Craighead George, about a young girl, I think, who runs away from home and then gets lost from home, or somehow ends up wolf pack kind of takes her in and helps to keep her safe and protect her. So I'm just really excited for more Newbery Medal winners. Speaking of Newbery Medal winners, I did pick up some at the next library book sale that I went to. This one was Fill a Bag for $5. So I have a huge stack of books here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 13 books here that I've put in my bag, and they were all only $5. So I have this book 2 in the Chronicles of Prydain by Lloyd Alexander. Book 5 was a Newbery winner, and so as I'm finding ones in this series, I'm picking them up because obviously I'm not going to start with book 5. So I threw that in the bag. I also grabbed The Phantom Toll Booth, which is a classic middle grade book that I did not yet own, and I really wanted to, so I have that one. And then another middle grade / YA, The School for Good and Evil by Soman Shinani. I'm not sure I'm going to like this, and I know this is a bigger series, but I just grabbed the first one. In this one, we have 2 sisters, I believe, or best friends, and then there's these 2 schools. One of them is the School for Good and one is the School for Evil, and you kind of get sent to the one that is the most appropriate for you, and they get sent to the opposite one of what they thought, or something along those lines. I'm not really sure, but I've seen it around enough, and I think it will be a fun middle grade to check out. A YA fantasy, I believe, series that I've been interested in is The Knife of Never Letting Go. This is Chaos Walking is the name of the trilogy. I don't know too much about it, but I have loved books by Patrick Ness, and I'm looking forward to this one when I need a quick fantasy to read. 2 more middle grades that I threw in my bag are Newbery winners. Sarah Plain and Tall by Patricia McLachlan, and Summer of the Swans by Betsy Byers. Both of these are Newbery winners, so I'm putting them on my Newbery shelf to read, hopefully during middle grade March. The next 4 I have here are historical fiction. We have a Russian historical fiction, The Secret Daughter of the Tsar. This takes place in 1902, and it kind of weaves the story of these 3 women together. oh no, I'm sorry, Veronica, Lena, and Charlotte, and this is by Jennifer Lamb. So some Russian historical fiction there. And then Santa Montefiore. I think I have another book or two by her on my shelves. She's a British author, and this one is The Girl in the Castle. Takes place in Ireland, a family home, friendship. This is the first in a trilogy, and I think one or two of the other books that I have are also in this trilogy, but I didn't have the first one, so now I do. The next one is called Dreaming Spies by Laurie R. King, and I think this one is the little blurb at the top says a novel of suspense featuring Mary Russell and Sherlock Holmes. It takes place in 1924, and it is like kind of a Sherlock Holmes mystery. So it's a adaptation. What would you call that? Kind of like how I like Jane Austen inspired books. This is a Sherlock Holmes inspired book. So it has that character, Mary Russell and Holmes, in it, but not written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So good mystery, maybe. I have another book by Santa Montefiore, The French Gardener. I don't think this is connected to the series that the other one is in. This one actually is one of her earlier books, but it will take place in England, a neglected garden, a cottage that holds a secret, a mysterious Frenchman who's, of course, handsome, a family in need of some love. This is a novel about marriage, passion, loss, renewal, and the healing power of love. She's just an author that's been on my radar, and I definitely am interested in checking her out in 2020. So I grabbed that one. I had seen this one around a little bit, The Bees by Laylene Paul. I have a feeling this one is going to be kind of like an allegory of life, but taking a close look at hive mentality and like humanizing the life of bees. So there's different castes and different levels of workers within the hive, and the only religion is worshiping the queen, which is very much like what the bees do. So yeah, I think it's going to be super interesting. If you've read this one, let me know what you think about it. I threw a classic in my bag, I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. I have seen this movie, but I never have read the book. It's about this family who kind of live in this abandoned castle, and then the owners show up. We follow this 17-year-old girl who's the daughter of the family. The father is a writer and kind of whimsical and eccentric in a way. I grabbed Peony in Love by Lisa C. This is an author that I'm definitely planning on reading in 2020. I now own, I think, 5 or 6 of her books and haven't yet read any of them. But whenever I have a chance to throw it in a bag for $5, I'm definitely doing that one. The last book I have from this book sale is a Bill Bryson, The Life and Times of the Thunderbolt Kid. And I think this is his memoir of growing up in the 1950s in America. And Bill Bryson is another author that I have quite a few of his books now and haven't read any of them. But for some reason, they always stand out to me. I feel like he's a nonfiction that writes with humor about lots of different things. So I'm really excited to try him and see what I think. I can't remember which library sale this is from, but I have 6 books here that I grabbed. Maybe it was from these ones. These ones might have been from Second and Charles, where I used some of my credit. I think that's what this pile is, but I'm not sure. Here we go. The Book of Essie has been super popular on the book internet, and it's by Megan McLean Weir. And this kind of takes this family with lots of children, and they have a reality TV show. Think 19 and Counting, the Duggar family, right? And one of the teenage daughters ends up becoming pregnant, and the fallout of all of that in the reality show and in this family. I've heard mixed things about this, but the premise of it just sounds interesting to me, so I grabbed it to see what I think. Historical fiction, which is my fave, The Other Einstein, and I believe this is by Marie Benedict, and I think this is about the wife of Einstein. Interested in that, who was a scientist in her own right. I Have a Place for Us by Fatima Farheen Mirza. I think I have this in hardcover, and I prefer paperback, so I grabbed it. This is about an Indian Muslim family as they prepare for their oldest daughter's wedding. I think it's family drama set in an Indian Muslim family. So I've heard very, very good things about that one. 2 more middle grades that I grabbed. This is book 4 in the Chronicles of Prydian by Lloyd Alexander. So I now have books 2, 4, and 5. And then this is another series that I'm kind of gathering when I find them by Margaret Peterson Haddix. It's Among the Hidden is the first in the series. I don't know why my phone just shut off, but yes, this is Among the Hidden. It is Among the Barons, It is the 4th book in the Shadow Children sequence, and I really enjoyed this series. I read it a long, long time ago, but now I want to own them. And then I also picked up Jesus Calling by Sarah Young. This is just a devotional, a daily devotional, where it takes verses, which are down at the bottom, and kind of words them as if God is talking to me, to you, as you read it. So I've heard really good things about this daily devotional and thought I would grab it. I did stop on my way. The day I left for Massachusetts, right at the beginning of November, was the biggest book sale that Richmond has. And I stopped real quick while I was at work. I brought the little girl with me, and I just found 4 books. I was very pleased with my restraint, but I was kind of going really quickly, and I'm really excited about what I found. The Hypnotist Love Story by Leanne Moriarty. I believe this might be the only one, except for her newest, that I didn't yet own. So I'm excited about that. I really like Leanne Moriarty. I had heard good things about this one by Dave Eggers. I was not in love with his book, The Circle, but this is a heartbreaking work of staggering genius, and I've heard really good things about this one. Don't know anything about it. This is one of the only ones from the Louise Penny Armand Gamache series that I did not own, Bury Your Dead. So I was absolutely thrilled to find that, because I'm very close to having the whole series, and I just need to fly through it. Maybe that's a good goal for 2020. And then I grabbed this middle grade book, Wildwood, because first of all, the cover is gorgeous. It's by Colin Malloy, and it has illustrations by Carson Ellis. So throughout the novel, there are really beautiful pictures in there. There are some black and white ones. There are some small ones that just are on part of the page, and then there's some full color ones, which is kind of fun. So I'm really excited about that. My middle grade shelf is bursting at the seams. We're almost done. And by almost done, I mean I have like 7 more. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 more. While I was in Massachusetts, I went to this thrift store that I love, Savers, there, and I found a few books there that had been on my TBR. So I have The Keeper of Lost Things by Ruth Hogan. I believe this is about the man who kind of collected lost things and tried to return them to their rightful owners. And then he passes away and kind of leaves that job to someone else, I believe, something like that. I picked up The Wedding Date and The Proposal, both by Jasmine Guillory. I'd heard Katie on the Currently Reading podcast talk about this author, and I believe they even interviewed her, but I didn't listen to that. Is that the podcast that I heard her talked about? I could be wrong about that, but these are going to be contemporary romance books, which sometimes that's exactly the mood that I'm in. And then I grabbed a Kristen Hanna Fly Away. This is the sequel to Firefly Lane, and I read Firefly Lane earlier this year, but haven't picked up the sequel, so I'm excited to own that. I was sent one book by the Fiction Guild this month, Stars of Alabama by Sean Dietrich, and this is a mystery set in the South, I believe. One child preacher traveling across the plains, one young woman with a mysterious touch, 2 old friends, their baby, and their bloodhound, and all the stars that shine above them. So we kind of are going to weave these stories together. I grabbed one book from the Dollar Tree, which I always look at the bookshelves in there and I don't always find something, but this is Geraldine Brooks, who has written People of the Book and March, which I own, and this one is The Secret Chord. I'm always interested in music or books that have to do with music, so that's all that I needed to know, and it was only $1. And then I opened it up and there's an awesome map in the inside flap and the end pages. And then when I read what this is about, I knew that I had to take it. So this is a vivid and original novel of King David in the voice of the one man courageous enough to challenge him. And that's Nathan, the prophet Nathan, who kind of confronts David about some choices that he made. So I'm really excited to read a biblical fiction, like an adaptation of the story of David. So that should be really interesting. And then finally, I have my Book of the Month picks. And I did get 3 picks this month because 2 of you signed up using my link, which is so awesome because that gives me a credit. So I'm very excited. The link for that will be in the description box below. But my pick for this month was Jojo Moyes' The Giver of Stars. I absolutely loved The Book Woman of Troublesome Creek at the end of the summer this year. And I'm really excited because this also takes place during the Depression, FDR's New Deal, where they hired people to go and become pack horse librarians and bring books up into the mountains of Kentucky and the Appalachian Mountains. So I am really excited to see another story about this period and portion of history that was unfamiliar to me. So I'm really excited about this. And then I also threw in my cart How to Walk Away by Catherine Center. I don't know anything about it, but I know that I loved, what was the other book? Things You Save in a Fire by her. A contemporary romance, but not heavy on the romance. Just a definite contemporary romance with a lot of heart, I'll say. Catherine Center masterfully weaves together the wonderful, horrible, funny, painful, messy parts about being human to create a heartbreak of a novel that celebrates resilience and strength. Through her characters, she shows readers that no matter what happens, hope and love are more powerful than tragedy and loss. So maybe I'll have the tissues ready when I read this one. I know I'm going to love it. And then I grabbed a fantasy, 10,000 Doors of January, which, I mean, also just has a fantastic cover. This is by Alex E. Harrow, and I believe this is a YA fantasy. Oh man, this is so new that, like, I can't even open the cover. When one enters the door, one must be brave enough to see the other side. In a sprawling mansion filled with peculiar treasures, January Scalar is a curiosity herself. As the ward of the wealthy Mr. Locke, she feels a little different from the artifacts that decorate the halls, carefully maintained, largely ignored, and utterly out of place. Then she finds a strange book, a book that carries the scent of other worlds and tells the tale of secret doors, of love, adventure, and danger. Each page turn reveals impossible truths about the world, and January discovers a story increasingly entwined with her own. Step into the world of January Scalar. I think I've heard really good things about this one. I'm very intrigued, and I love the cover. So I had to throw it in my cart, because Book of the Month has been nailing it with some of their choices lately. There's still so many more that I want. So if you want to sign up for Book of the Month, use my link so I get more credits. Just kidding. I don't need more books, because this pile is huge, you guys, and there's no way I'm trying to hold it up. So I hope that you enjoyed this book haul. Remember, I don't pay very much for these books. They're mostly from library sales or thrift stores. The only new ones are the one from the Dollar Tree, the 3 from Book of the Month, and the one that the Fiction Guild sent me. Everything else is secondhand, but in really good condition, because I'm picky like that. Let's chat in the comments below about these books or about any others. Which of these should I definitely try to get to in 2020 or before the end of the year? We have time before the end of the year. Let me know if you've read any of them, what you thought about them, or chat about anything else. You guys know I love talking with you down in the comments, and I'll be talking to you very soon in another video. Bye, friends.